Talk to me about the fight. How do you feel?
I feel great. I was able to go in there and do as I predicted. I'm happy.
How frustrating were the dirty tactics tonight? It seemed like every time you turned around, he was pot-shotting you or holding your arm and hitting you. How'd you deal with that?
Man, I was a little frustrated, but I didn't let it overtake me where it controlled my mind and controlled my game plan. I knew to stay focused. I knew he didn't really have much for me as far as like banging back and forth, and if we was going to play that game, then he was going to lose that game. So my whole thing was not getting caught with the tricky shots.
Now, I know in past interviews you kind of didn't want this fight.
Yeah.
You weren't excited about it. I mean, going from a guy like knocking out Peter Quillen to Sergio Mora, who, better days are behind him, obviously.
Yeah.
How'd you stay up for this fight, because you looked really sharp tonight. You were patient, and the power was awesome.
It's experience, man. You just got to go with the flow. You got to learn on the job, and you got to be professional, whether that's remaining focused. And this task at hand that I had today, I can't obviously look for the future because this man was right in front of me throwing punches, and I had to be focused. So that's just part of being a professional.
Now you talk about that date you have in the future. Is Triple G just the only thing on your mind, or are you looking at other opponents also?
Well, Triple G is the only thing on my mind. I mean, obviously, like I said before, I wanted to fight the BJ Saunders. I wanted to fight the Chris Eubanks. Those guys didn't report back with anything. I'm not saying they're ducking me, but I'm just saying that they didn't want to fight at that particular time. So if we can't fight those guys, then we go straight to the top. Thank you. All right, so I still, you know what, can I get some water so I can at least, it's the hardest part, trying to use the bathroom.
You done this year? You're gonna try to give try to get more for the show.
I'm taking 3 weeks off and getting right back to the gym. We have a date in December with the Barclays Center, so see what Al has in store.
You're paying attention more.
Oh, of course. I mean, he's the main guy at middleweight. He's the one that the fan recognized as the real champion. So and that's the one that I want to fight too. So of course we're gonna be watching.
You fought Quinlan.
How you doing?
Battle of Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it was huge. This is New York is going to be the boxing capital again.
I'll see you guys in a few. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Sorry about that.
And then what happens is, the stuff about the New York commission. The costs are so prohibitive,
Yeah.
with insurance and everything, that there is some question as to if that is maintained, it's going to drive.
Make no mistake.
Brooklyn.
That's not going to have an effect on whether or not I fight in New York. The Barclays Center is willing to do whatever it takes to get me back, and they want to be known that we have a date already locked in, and there's nothing going to change that.
Had it not been for what's happening with the commission and the mandate, and,
Yes, sir.
for the cost, would this fight card have been,
In New York? No, this was already scheduled before that whole stuff was going on. I want to clear that up as well because this had no anything to do with that whole commission thing and the insurance. This had nothing to do with us being here. For whatever reasons, it was already decided before we came out here. So.
I know Mr. Yormark has said, that they're going to try to see what can be done. The New York legislature had a chance to do something to bring the cost more in line. I mean, have you been led to believe, that something's going to get done?
I've heard bits and pieces. It's very disappointing to even hear anything like this, but I'm hearing bits and pieces that there's going to be a resolution soon, and hopefully they can come to terms to let there be some actual shows in Brooklyn boxing. But when you hear things like Lou DiBella says this is his last show in Brooklyn and so on and so forth, it's just kind of discouraging. But hopefully boxing can stay alive in New York.
All right, and Sergio Mora, talked a lot of smack going before the
Yeah.
fight. I mean, did that, change the way you approach this fight at all?
It just made me want to inflict a little bit more pain than I normally go into a fight wanting to do. Obviously, I like knockouts and I want to go in there and hurt guys, but this one for me, I wanted to actually hurt the man because of, I won't say disrespect, but just the tactics that he used to get the rematch and what he said about me online and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He just, I guess this is boxing and he was able to land a rematch, so, hats off to him.
And then the ring, he hit twice on the break.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, man. But the referee was very professional. The referee did his job, and he said he was going to warn him. And even backstage, he said if he seen any dirty tactics, he was going to, be firm on that. So pass off to the referee for doing his job.
It's very awkward. How does that play into how you're trying to?
Man, it's like trying to find your little brother, man. Like get to it. So I realized that I had to kind of settle down and really start placing my shots accurately, because sometimes I get into the habit of just so I just had to start picking my shots. You know what I mean? Because the timing was everything. And I guess he has this tricky timing when he comes back. And that's the thing too, he was coming back with counter shots. So not only are you trying to find someone, but you gotta watch out for shots at the same time. So I really didn't want to get hit, and I wanted to start placing my shots. But a little early on in the fight, I was kind of overcommitting, but you live, you learn.
Danny, we spoke about this before, and it's actually, again, it's confident plea. It's your 12th straight stoppage. It's just a pure out fight. Why would Golovkin want to fight you?
This is boxing. I mean, no one's scared of nobody. I mean, like Triple G said, this is boxing. This is boxing. No, he's a good guy. I'm just joking. But it's true. This is boxing. Why do you come into a sport fearful of any man? His record, he has a lot of knockouts.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The last 2 or 3 guys have not been middleweights.
Yeah,
they have to step up there.
Yeah,
you're more.
And you can argue the case that I have probably the most decorated guy on my resume, or probably the toughest guy with Peter Quillen. You can argue that. I mean, there's tons of stuff that you can debate. This is boxing.
But I mean, I don't think he's faced anyone as tough as Quillen.
I mean, but he's still tough though. He's still tough though. So you can take nothing away from him.
I'm not going to take anything away from him. I'm just saying,
right.
He hasn't had to do a plan B yet.
Right, exactly. And that's why I'm looking forward to the fight, if it can happen. I'm looking forward to actually proving that I can go in there and be, whether it's boxing, whether it's knockout, whatever it is, I know I can be victor.
It was a crazy night. I mean, the atmosphere was incredible. I wonder, did you hear that Toledo crowd or anything? Is like,
oh man, they were full support. That's what I love about boxing. Especially when you have up and coming guys who's not really known worldwide, and they have that support system like that. It got me hyped backstage listening to his fan base. It's a beautiful thing about boxing. You got the championship tonight too. Hats off to him, man. Got a bright future.
For the Triple G fight to be next, would it? Congratulations, by the way. For that to be next, does it have to be December in Brooklyn?
That's our next date that we have. If it works out to where it could be in January, I'm not against that either. But like I said before, that's a date that we have. So if I have to be pushed further a little bit more because we both fought, it probably needs to be a little bit more time, I'm all for it. Or if it's the same date, I don't really know. But like I said before, that's the date that we have in store.
December what?
I think mid-December. Yeah, December.
But if everything happening in New York City, you want to give that date up and not fight on it? If you can't negotiate for Golovkin Jacobs fight in December, will you still give up that date instead of? If it wasn't too far, I don't want to fight in February if I can still fight in December. But I'm just hoping everything can go in my favor to where when that dotted line is signed, I will be compensated accordingly and I'll be happy.